So no Kiwis had a Māori sign name before. So this is the first Kiwi. So one has the name Pikiake. This is the name sign, which means it's kind of growing to success. So it means it won't face any barriers.
Te kaupapa me nā manu Kiwi ka tuku nātu ki te wā o tapu, me te mea hoki nā te hapori turi, tētahi o nā manu I tapa ki te inua Māori, Pikiake. Taru Black, te ao Māori.
He's got the boat to go to Matakohe Limestone Island. And he brought the Kiwi in a box to the boat club to show everyone about the Kiwi. So he lifted the Kiwi out of the box. He didn't give it to everybody.
Pikiake. Oh, well, that was a privilege. I mean, to be there for the very first one, and with people who care, like those people behind you here in the room today, it was a real privilege. And I hope the start of many, we were able to give Kiwi a Māori name, a sign language name.
Well, Pikiake, yeah, it was pretty cool. It's always cool, but she's a beautiful big bird, and it's always nice to start with. Years ago, people weren't so keen on us naming Kiwi. I love people, communities naming their Kiwi, whether it's a geographic community, whether it's an iwi, whether it's people with a vested interest or whatever. And it was very special to have a deaf community name their Kiwi. Pikiake is now at Tutikaka being monitored, so Tutikaka Land Care, they've got engagement, but whatever happens with that bird, it's Pikiake very special to have with the deaf community, and and it's just, that's the whole thing. This is about everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. They're all, the Kiwi, they're all ours, and it's good to have different sections of the community, I don't know if the word buying in, but engaging with the Kiwi is just, without people involved, we're buggered.
It's spectacular. I think it's a wonderful thing to be doing, and building this into an education program for deaf people around the country.
Absolutely fantastic. Just another way of including our deaf community into what's happening in our native environment with our conservation and our bird life. It's beautiful.
Because times have changed and the Kiwi was almost extinct, that to name a bird, it's a bit like when you have someone gives you a little piglet and you take it home and you give it a name. 9 times out of 10 you don't want to eat that little piglet, when it grows up. So I think the Kiwi would be a little bit like that, because I've never ever named a Kiwi. So, but when they give it to you out of the freezer, it doesn't feel so, you're not so attached.
Not physically, but from the moment that she was released in this area, just up the road from where we are, we checked her with a transmitter, with her receiver and an aerial, about every 4 days, so we could follow her progress. So we know where she is, we know where she's been, and we know she's in good health. But we don't physically need to catch her to check on her at this point. Because we think she might be a female, we will only keep the transmitter on her leg for probably about 4 months. So when the transmitter's put on at the first stage, it's got quite a weak band on it, and after about this time, that transmitter is going to fall off. In fact, we suspect that it has already fallen off. So we know she's in a safe territory. That's the most important thing. There are other Kiwi here and a good established Kiwi population, and we just get our fingers crossed that she'll find her own personal he or she.
Kiwi North is, it's a multiplicity of things. It's the heritage and the history of Whangarei, and it's the natural history of the Whangarei area. And we have our museum with our artefacts, Māori, European, social history, natural history, archaeological, and we have our living natural history as well, which is our animals, our treasure, our taonga, which is our kiwi that we look after. We look after the heritage park as well, 62 acres of land, including bush, and we back onto the Pukenui forest, which has now got kiwi living in there, which is the closest urban population of kiwi to Whangarei City. So we help with the Pukenui Forest Trust as well. In the wild, kiwi will eat a mix of everything. They're omnivores, but leaning towards insects. But they will eat arachnids, actually spiders. They will eat earthworms, bugs, beetles, moths. They will eat fruit and plant matter as well, and some berries. So they mix of everything. So what we feed them here is a supplementary diet, and this is a diet that has been introduced nationwide to all captive kiwi. And I have an example of it here, if you want to have a look. Okay, so what we give them is a long list: minced beef, minced ox heart, peas, sweet corn, carrots, apple, mashed banana, a vitamin mix, calcium carbonate, wheat germ, sunflower oil, and currants and dried cat food. And it's all mixed together, and then we put it into these tubes, which then I introduce into the ground in their environment like that. And it means that the kiwi can forage, but they're going down into the tube, replicating, going down into the ground. It's up to the kiwi whether or not they want to eat this food. It's just additional to what they already have in their environment. What we have created here is as natural an environment as we can within the parameters of captivity. So everything in there, in our kiwi house, is real, it's growing. There's 1.5 meters, 2 meters of soil and leaf litter, and we replace the leaf litter every 3 months, and that replenishes all the bugs and grubs in their larval stages, babies. But it's entirely up to the kiwi whether or not they choose to eat this. But at the moment, our 2 kiwi, Raukora and Zephyr, they are the equivalent of teenagers. And it's basically a free feed, not that much effort required to find it. So they're happy. But some days they will eat everything. Other days, no, I just want a sandwich. I don't want a 3-course meal, thank you. So yeah, just like humans. Wild kiwi, where there is no predator control, and in drought situations, they do struggle. What you have to bear in mind is that every single land mammal in New Zealand has been introduced, bar our little bats. And unfortunately, they've all had an indirect and direct effect on the wild kiwi population. So with captive kiwi, the good thing about keeping them in captivity is we can protect them until they reach breeding age, around about the age of 3.5, 4. And because they have this real innate sense of being kiwi, they are capable of going from captivity into the wild very easily into protected areas.
I think all birds are meant to be free. That's my belief. You know, the ones in captivity are really in zoos. Sure, they're alive and they're fed, but and they probably don't know the difference. It's a bit like a goldfish swimming around in a bowl. But I like the idea of them being free in habitat like this, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's part of what we want. I mean, we don't we don't have predator fences around our protected zones. We're looking for kiwi to be able to move from area to area or through any part of Northland without having to worry about predators. And a fence acts just as much to keep birds in as it does to keep predators out. So I don't think it's the ultimate answer.
Mike's pretty much summed it up perfectly, really. I think we've come to a stage, if we, I don't foresee it, due to the fact that I think what we're doing is a success, and the effect is starting to pay off, and the population numbers are starting to thrive. But I'd feel it would be a very, very dark day if we come to a stage where the only kiwi we could see were behind a glass screen. So with Mike on that, I think they should be out in the wild doing what they do and being free, and they're a taonga for all.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just want to hear more